Most people don't fail because they are lazy. They fail because they were taught the wrong story about change. From the moment we are young, we are surrounded by stories that make transformation look dramatic. A sudden decision, a burst of motivation, a clear turning point. We are told that change happens when something finally clicks, when you feel ready, when you feel inspired, when you finally become that version of yourself. But if that story were true, most people would already be living very different lives. Because Atomic Habits is one of the most successful self-improvement books ever written. Millions of copies sold, millions of people inspired, millions of highlights, notes, and saved quotes. And yet, quietly, beneath all that inspiration, the reality looks very different. Most people are still stuck. They start strong, they feel hopeful, they feel capable. They tell themselves this time will be different. And then, without a clear moment to failure, they slowly drift back to the same routines, the same distractions, the same patterns, the same results. If you have read Atomic Habits, if you felt motivated for a while, if you truly believed things were finally changing, and then found yourself back where you started, this is not a failure of effort. It is a failure of understanding. Atomic Habits does not fail people. People fail Atomic Habits because they approach it with the same mindset that failed them before. This is not a summary of the book. This is the lesson most people never fully absorb. Because the truth is uncomfortable. You do not lack information. You lack consistency. You already know what to do. Eat better, move your body, sleep earlier, scroll less, focus longer, save money, build skills. You don't need another video to tell you this. You don't need another book to repeat it. Knowledge is not what is holding you back. Behavior is. Most people believe motivation is the missing ingredient, so they wait for it. They wait to feel ready. They wait to feel inspired. They wait for the perfect moment. They watch videos. They read books. They collect quotes. They imagine a better future. But motivation fades. It always does. And when it fades, people don't question the system they are using. They question themselves. I'm not disciplined. I don't have willpower. I'm just not that kind of person. That last sentence is the most dangerous belief of all, because it quietly locks your future in place. It turns behavior into identity, and identity, once accepted, becomes a self-fulfilling loop. This is where Atomic Habits actually begins, and where most people stop paying attention. The first mistake people make is chasing results. They want weight loss. They want more money. They want productivity. They want success. So they set goals. Clear goals. Ambitious goals. Emotionally charged goals. But goals are not what change lives. Two people can share the same goal and end up in completely different places. Two people can want the same outcome and build entirely different futures. Goals do not shape behavior. Systems do. And systems are powered by identity. Most people try to change what they do without changing who they believe they are. They say, I want to work out, instead of, I am someone who moves their body regularly. They say, I want to be productive, instead of, I am someone who finishes what they start. They say, I want to save money, instead of, I am someone who thinks long-term. This difference sounds subtle. It isn't. One is an action. The other is a self-image.
and behavior always follows identity. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you believe you are. Every skipped workout is a vote. Every late night is a vote. Every promise kept is a vote. Every promise broken is a vote. Over time, those votes add up, not into motivation, but into identity. And once an identity forms, behavior stops feeling like effort. It feels natural. This is why Atomic Habits was never really about habits. It was about identity reinforcement. But most readers rush past that idea. They want tactics, they want hacks, they want shortcuts. They want change without discomfort, results without patience, progress without boredom. And so they miss the core truth. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your identity. Until that changes, nothing else sticks.
The second mistake people make is trying to change too much too fast. A new routine, a new diet, a new mindset, a new life. They believe that intensity equals commitment, so they overhaul everything at once. And for a few days, it works. They wake up early, they eat clean, they feel powerful, they feel in control. And then reality returns. Energy drops, stress increases, life interrupts. And because the plan was extreme, the failure feels personal. Small habits feel insignificant, so people dismiss them. Reading one page feels pointless. Doing one push-up feels embarrassing. Working for 5 minutes feels like nothing. But real change does not come from intensity. It comes from repetition. A habit does not need to be impressive. It needs to be consistent. 1 page every day. 1 push-up every day. 5 minutes every day. Small actions feel meaningless until you stop doing them. Then you realize they were holding everything together. Every small habit sends a signal, not to the world, to yourself. When you show up, even briefly, you reinforce a new identity. I'm someone who shows up. I'm someone who keeps promises. I'm someone who doesn't quit. Habits do not compound because of time. They compound because of belief. Most people quit early, not because results don't come, but because they do not feel like a new person yet. They don't recognize themselves in the process, so they return to what feels familiar, even if it's limiting, even if it's painful, because familiarity feels safe. The third mistake people make is relying on willpower. They believe discipline is something internal, something you either have or don't have. That belief alone ruins more lives than laziness ever could, because behavior is shaped far more by environment than by motivation. If unhealthy food is visible, you eat it. If distractions are nearby, focus disappears. If your phone is within reach, attention fades. This is not weakness, it is biology. Your brain evolved to conserve energy and seek comfort. Modern environments exploit that instinct perfectly. Atomic Habits explains this clearly, but most people ignore it. They try to become stronger instead of making their environment weaker. Successful people do not rely on self-control. They design their lives. They remove temptation instead of resisting it. They make good habits easy and bad habits inconvenient. Not because they are special, but because they are realistic. You are not as rational as you think. You are not as disciplined as you hope. So stop designing your life for who you wish you were. Design it for who you actually are. Here is the part most people never want to hear. Atomic Habits is not a motivation book. It is a realism book. It assumes you will fail.
You will forget. You will lose energy. You will lose focus. And it builds systems around that reality. People who fail chase perfection. People who succeed plan for weakness. Reading feels productive. It feels like progress. But reading without action is mental entertainment. Most people read books to feel better, not to become different. They highlight sentences, they share quotes, they feel informed, and then they return to the same behavior. Knowledge without action is comfort, not change. If there is one shift that makes atomic habits work, it is this. Stop asking, what habit should I build? Start asking, what kind of person would do this naturally? Then act once, not forever, not perfectly, just once. Identity is built through evidence, not intention. You do not need confidence, you need proof. One small action creates evidence. Evidence builds belief. Belief creates consistency. That is the real loop. Not motivation, not inspiration, proof. Most people never change because they never question who they think they are. They add habits without rewriting identity. They chase results without building systems. They rely on discipline instead of design. And then they blame themselves. Atomic Habits was never about habits. It was about becoming someone else, quietly, gradually, without drama. Real change is boring. There are no fireworks, no cinematic transformation, no moment where everything suddenly clicks, just repetition, evidence, identity. And that's why it works. Most people read books to feel motivated. A few read them to change how they think. Atomic Habits belongs to the second group, but only if you stop reading it like everyone else. So store this lesson carefully, not in your notes, not in your highlights, in your identity. Because the real lesson of Atomic Habits is not about habits at all. It is about this. You do not change your life by trying harder. You change your life by becoming someone new, one quiet action at a time. This belongs in the Mind Vault.